They whispered her name like a prayer already answered. Dead, lost to the storm, to the mountain, to the silence that followed the last broken transmission. The seals huddled beneath rain-slick pines, weapons lowered, grief heavy as the clouds until a shape moved where nothing should have lived, and the storm itself seemed to step aside. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love knowing who's listening. She'd trained with the men who now mourned her, had laughed with them, bled with them. She also knew how quickly hope was buried when survival felt inconvenient. As she dragged herself through the last stretch of scree, rifle strapped tight, breath sawing her ribs, she wondered if it was mercy they felt, a relief that the impossible no longer asked anything of them. Hours earlier, she'd taken the shot, wind screaming, rain slashing sideways, fingers numb enough to lie. The target fell, but so did the ridge beneath her. She'd gone over, a tumble of rock and pain, helmet cracked, radio drowned, alone, in the storm. The mountain had tested her resolve with every step since. She had answered with stubbornness and memory of a father who taught her to hold steady, of a mother who never asked her to be smaller, of a team that needed her alive, even if they'd already decided she wasn't. Below, the seals debated a retreat. Night was closing fast. Another stared into the rain, jaw clenched, as if daring the mountain to give her back. Moral lines blurred when survival pressed its thumb to the scale. Leave now, save the team, stay longer, risk everyone for a ghost. The decision tasted like iron. Mara heard them before she saw them, the muffled voices, the scrape of boots, the hush that falls when men try not to hope. Her hands trembled as she raised the last flare. Not yet. She needed to be closer, to make it undeniable. She thought she'd never see them again. She was wrong. When she broke the tree line, the world held its breath. Rain softened to a whisper. A flare bloomed red against the storm, painting her silhouette in fire. Someone swore. Weapons snapped up, then froze. She lowered her hood, mud-streaked face calm as she could manage, and walked out of the storm like it had failed her. For a heartbeat, no one moved. Then the mountain echoed with boots as they surged toward her, a tide of disbelief and relief. Hands grabbed her shoulders. A medic's fingers flew. Someone pressed her forehead to hers, eyes bright and unashamed. Murmurs rolled through the team, swelling into something like reverence, not for a legend, but for a woman who had refused to disappear. Later, when the storm finally loosened its grip, the question surfaced quietly. Should they have stayed longer? Should they have called it sooner? Mara listened, wrapped in a thermal blanket, guilt and gratitude warring inside her. She knew the truth lived in the gray. Command demanded choices. Loyalty demanded patience. Courage demanded both. She didn't judge them. She simply met their eyes and nodded. Survival wasn't a solo act. Neither was forgiveness. At dawn, the clouds lifted, revealing a scarred ridge and a thin line of footprints cutting back from nowhere. The team moved out together, lighter now, steps in unison, tools clinking like a promise kept. The mountain watched, indifferent, as it always does, because courage doesn't announce itself. It endures, and then it walks back into the light. And somewhere in the hush after the storm, the whispers changed. Not dead, never gone, just fighting her way home. If this story moved you, share where you're listening from and what moments stayed with you. Subscribe for more quiet courage and hard-earned hope, because the next story might be the one you need when the storm gets loud.